Before we begin, imagine a long hallway. A hallway where footsteps echo softly, where photographs hang crookedly on the walls, and where time seems to move a little slower than usual. Now imagine Stockard Channing walking down that hallway, not in bright Hollywood lighting, not with applause in the background, but with a quiet determination that doesn't need attention. This is not a dramatic story. It is not fast. It is not thrilling. But it is a story of a woman who kept moving, step by step, even when nobody applauded, even when nobody noticed. This is Stockard Channing's life, plain, patient, persistent, and quietly resilient. In the grand scheme of Hollywood history, Stockard Channing's name appears with a kind of silent respect. She is neither the loudest star nor the one who depends on glittering headlines. Her journey is slow, steady, and methodical, almost like watching a leaf drift gently across a still pond. There are no sudden explosions, no overwhelming surprises, and no chaotic turning points. Instead, her life unfolds with thoughtful pauses, long stretches of reflection, and a series of choices made not out of excitement, but out of a calm obligation to the craft she loved. This documentary script aims to explore that journey. Not with intensity, not with flamboyance, but with the quiet, somewhat monotonous tone that Stockard Channing herself often preferred. Section 1. The still and quiet beginning. Stockard Channing was born Susan Williams Antonia Stockard on February 13, 1944, in New York City. Her early life was sheltered, structured, and uneventful in a comforting way. She lived in a household where routine mattered. Her parents believed in order, discipline, and maintaining a respectable image. There were no significant explosions of drama during her childhood, just the predictable rhythm of school days, family dinners, and quiet evenings. Her household encouraged education, and so her life followed the steady, almost sleepy pace of a student who simply did what she was expected to do. She attended the Chopin School, a place known for academic rigor and calm discipline. Every day was similar to the day before: structured lessons, respectful silence in classrooms, polite conversation at lunch. Nothing remarkable, nothing chaotic, just a slow, steady progression toward adulthood. Section 2. A calm, gradual awakening to acting. Her love for acting didn't arrive with fireworks. There was no intense moment of revelation, no dramatic childhood performance that changed her life. Instead, her interest in the arts arrived quietly, almost politely, like a guest knocking softly on a door. In college, at Radcliffe, she began dipping her toes into theater. Not because she was overwhelmed by passion, but because the stage offered a structured, predictable environment she felt comfortable in. Rehearsals were organized. Scripts were clear. The process was gentle and methodical. Her classmates remember her as focused, precise, and undramatic. She was not the loudest in the room. She did not crave attention. She simply believed that every line should be spoken with intention, every step taken with meaning, and every scene played with patience. Her early performances were steady. Not extraordinary, not groundbreaking, but deeply reliable. And that reliability would later become her signature strength. Section 3. Entering Hollywood with quiet footsteps. When Stockard Channing entered the world of film and television, she did so without glamour. Hollywood in the 1970s was loud, bright, and competitive. But she moved through it as though she were strolling through a quiet museum at closing time. Her early roles were small, subtle, and often overlooked. She did not chase fame. She did not seek roles that demanded attention. She accepted parts that allowed her to study characters, observe human nature, and build a foundation for a long, steady career. There were no sudden leaps to stardom, only slow progress. One step at a time, one performance at a time. Her presence was like a light that never flickered, never sparked violently, just a stable glow that warmed a room without anyone noticing immediately. Section 4. Grease. the unintended spotlight be the time she was cast as Rizzo in Grease 1978. Stockard Channing was 33 years old, significantly older than her teenage character. The film itself would become a global cultural phenomenon, but for her, the experience was surprisingly subdued. Fans expected her life to explode with sudden fame. But instead, she approached the project with her usual calm professionalism. She showed up on time. She rehearsed meticulously. She avoided unnecessary noise or drama. She treated the film as just another piece of work. Even after Grease became a worldwide hit, Stockard Channing didn't rush to capitalize on it. She didn't chase publicity. She didn't reinvent herself as a Hollywood star. Instead, she stepped backward into quieter roles, choosing depth over popularity. Her humility was so profound that many fans didn't even realize she had been Rizzo until years later. Section 5. A career marked by quiet strength. As Hollywood changed around her, trends rising and falling, stars coming and going, Stockard Channing remained herself, slightly detached from the chaos, slightly uninterested in fame, deeply focused on her craft. Roles in television and film came steadily, never in overwhelming waves. Each performance was like a page in a long, slow, carefully written novel. Her work in theater, television, and film allowed her to maintain stability. She wasn't chasing blockbuster success. She wasn't trying to dominate the industry. She was simply building a respectable body of work piece by quiet piece. Section 6. The unseen heartbreaks. But behind that calm exterior, Stockard Channing faced heartbreak. Not the loud, messy kind. The quiet kind: personal disappointments, relationship struggles, private challenges, and the internal loneliness that often follows a career built on subtlety rather than spectacle. She married multiple times, each union beginning with hope and ending in separation. Yet none of this unfolded with public chaos. There were no explosive scandals, no dramatic headlines, only silent heartbreaks handled with dignity. Her resilience wasn't the fiery kind. It was the quiet, persistent resilience of someone who simply keeps walking down the hallway, even when the lights flicker dimly above her. Section 7. A reputation built on quiet excellency. Over the decades, Stockard Channing earned award nominations and critical praise not because she demanded it, but because her consistency made her impossible to ignore. Her performances in The West Wing, 6 Degrees of Separation, The Good Wife, and numerous stage productions highlighted the same qualities. Deep emotional insight, careful precision, deliberate pacing, thoughtful interpretation, mere strength. Hollywood eventually recognized what she had been offering all along. Not flashy brilliance, but dependable excellence. Not sudden impact, but long-term influence. And so, as we close the first chapter of Stockard Channing's life story, we find ourselves still in that quiet hallway, walking beside a woman who never rushed, never shouted, and never demanded applause. Her journey continues, slowly, patiently, and with a resilience that reveals itself only when examined closely. Part 2 will explore the deeper struggles, the aging years, the emotional challenges, and the unbreakable strength that guided her through every disappointment and every quiet victory. Part 2, Section 8. The quiet years after fame. After the global success of Grease, many expected Stockard Channing to transform into a major Hollywood sensation. But her journey did not follow that dramatic arc. Once the lights dimmed and the cameras stopped rolling, she quietly stepped away from the noise associated with sudden fame. There were no world tours, no expensive photo shoots, and no headlines proclaiming her as Hollywood's new superstar. Instead, she returned to a routine of reading scripts slowly, considering each role with a calm, measured thoughtfulness, and declining anything that felt unnecessarily loud or superficial. For Stockard, fame was not an objective, it was an uninvited visitor she acknowledged but never embraced. Her life moved forward in a nearly motionless drift, like clouds gently sliding across a still afternoon sky. There was no rush, no pressure, just the slow unfolding of time. Section 9. Navigating Hollywood with intentional distancy. As Hollywood's landscape evolved, many actors scrambled to reinvent themselves, chasing trends, image transformations, and commercial appeal. Stockard Channing chose a different approach. She maintained a polite distance from Hollywood's chaotic rhythm. Her days were spent studying, rehearsing, and reflecting. She rarely attended glamorous parties or industry gatherings, preferring quiet evenings at home or long, reflective walks. Her agents often found themselves urging her to participate in publicity events, but Stockard remained firm. She was more interested in the mechanics of her roles than in the promotion of them. Her deliberate detachment gave her a unique kind of power. While others struggled to keep up with Hollywood's waves of change, she remained steady, anchored, and largely unaffected. She wasn't competing, she was simply existing, working, and moving at her preferred pace. Section 10. Slow building mastery. Her return to theater. Throughout her career, Stockard found a comfortable refuge in theater. The stage offered structure, discipline, and repetition, three things she valued deeply. The rhythm of theater suited her perfectly. The same scenes practiced over and over, same lighting quests, same entrances, and exits, quiet satisfaction of consistency. While Hollywood demanded constant reinvention, theater allowed her to settle into a routine. She could repeat performances nightly, delivering them with meticulous accuracy, each night nearly identical to the one before. Her return to stage work became a defining period in her professional life. The stage did not overwhelm her with sudden bursts of attention. Instead, it provided a steady, reliable platform, a controlled environment where time seemed to pause. Performances like 6 Degrees of Separation earned her immense respect. But even then, Stockard Channing responded with her usual calm. No grand celebration, so victory speech is no elaborate party, is just a quiet acknowledgement followed by a return to work the next morning. Section 11. Emotional battles fought in silence. Behind her composed exterior, Stockard faced several personal struggles that unfolded not in explosive confrontations but in long, quiet periods of reflection. Her relationships, though filled with hope at the beginning, often drifted apart slowly, almost imperceptibly. These separations were not loud or public. They were private dissolutions, marked by evenings spent in silence rather than arguments. Each heartbreak added another layer to her resilience. Not the dramatic kind of resilience that involves grand speeches or heroic comebacks, but the subtle type that grows in solitude. She learned to sit with pain and gradually let it fade on its own, never rushed, never forced. Her emotional endurance wasn't flashy. It was like a stone slowly polished by years of steady rain. Section 12. The West Wing, a mature reinvention quietly successful. When Stockard Channing accepted the role of Abbey Bartlet in The West Wing, she was already known as a reliable performer. But the series allowed her to present a deeper, more grounded side of her craft. Not through explosive monologues or dramatic breakdowns, but through controlled, measured performance. Her portrayal was calm, intelligent, and emotionally restrained, an approach that perfectly matched the show's tone. She delivered lines with a steadiness that reflected decades of experience, bringing dignity to every scene. Although the role earned her awards and acclaim, Stockard responded in her familiar, understated fashion. Quiet gratitude, demonal excitement, a return to work with the same discipline routine. This period reinforced her identity as an actress who valued consistency over spectacle. Section 13. The gradual acceptance of aging. For many in Hollywood, aging triggers panic, frantic decisions, rushed surgeries, and desperate image changes. Stockard Channing, however, approached aging with practical acceptance. She understood that time moves in one direction, slowly but inevitably, and she embraced that reality with the same calmness that had shaped her entire life. Her face changed, her roles changed, and her opportunities shifted, but she never fought the passage of time with resistance. Her aging process mirrored her personality, quiet, steady, and free of melodrama. Instead of clinging to youth, she settled into maturity with grace, acknowledging it as simply another season. Section 14. A career built on subtle brilliance. Over the years, Stockard's acting evolved into something increasingly refined. Like a soft melody played on an old piano, her performances became more nuanced, more measured, and more gentle. Critics described her style with terms like methodical, patient, quietly powerful, emotionally economical. She never relied on intensity to carry a scene. She relied on presence, calm, confident, and quietly commanding. Her later roles, whether in film or television, reflected a performer who understood the value of understatement. Even when portraying complex emotional moments, she never allowed her performance to slip into melodrama. Her power came from restraint. Section 15. The private life she protected carefully. While many celebrities built their fame on exposure and constant public engagement, Stockard did the opposite. She kept her private life wrapped in stillness. There were no messy interviews, no tabloid scandals, no viral conflicts. Her romantic relationships, friendships, and personal struggles were kept behind a quiet curtain. She chose privacy not because she feared attention, but because she found peace in the absence of noise. This lack of public drama made her seem distant at times, but it also gave her a mysterious dignity. Fans admired her not just for her acting, but for her ability to maintain a life free from unnecessary chaos. Section 16. Strength built over decades of steady effort. Despite the calmness of her persona, Stockard Channing's life required immense strength. But her strength wasn't explosive, it was slow, steady, and unbreakable in a very subtle way. She survived heartbreak without bitterness. She handled career disappointments without panic. She endured aging without fear. She faced loneliness with acceptance. Her resilience grew like a tree, not in sudden spurts, but through gradual, almost invisible growth. It is this endurance, quiet, steady, and unwavering, that defines her legacy. Section 17. A philosophy of patience and consistency. Stockard Channing's life can be summarized by a simple philosophy: keep moving slowly. Keep working steadily. Let time do the rest. This approach allowed her to remain grounded while others burned out or faded away. She never chased anything, neither fame, nor attention, nor validation. Yet she achieved all three through consistency alone. Her life proves that success doesn't always require speed or intensity. Sometimes, success grows in silence.